I know. I know. I said that the first project was going to be the slip. However, counter offer. What if instead of the slip first, we did a Halloween flower crown? Because that's what the heart wants. It just rained the other day, and I've got spooky season a calling me, even though it's literally like 75 and like 60% humidity outside. It's fine. This is what the heart wants. So join me while I make this really rad flower crown.
So, as you can see, I ended up with a bunch of really cool things to use for this flower crown. I bought the greenery from Michael's, and all of that greenery was probably about $40 on sale and with coupons. And we got that during our Halloween extravaganza shopping. The rest of the pieces are things that I've had for a while and I didn't know what I was going to use at that point, so I just sort of put everything down on the table. And then I started getting to crafting. So I used a headband and the bill from an old ball cap and started hot gluing some velvet ribbon that I have to the ball cap bill because I had really wanted like a halo style crown. So I'd been seeing a bunch of really cool videos of like Ukrainian or Eastern European style like halo crowns, and so that's what the heart wanted. But I didn't go into this really with a plan, so I just sort of picked vibes. And I love this velvet ribbon. If you're making flower crowns for yourself, this is just like 1 inch velvet ribbon that I got off Amazon in like a big old roll. It works really well to keep flower crowns on your head. So I really like it because it sort of like does a bit of a Velcro effect almost, and it helps keeping things from sliding around. When I do my circlet crowns, I use that as the inside, but using it as like the main decorative piece was kind of the first time for this. So I just sort of went with something that I thought would look nice without showing the edges because I didn't want it to look pinstripe. When it came to the front of the crown, I knew that I was going to be using most of my flowers here, so I didn't worry about putting any of the ribbon on the front because I knew that it would basically be covered up with flowers and leaves and whatever else the stuff is. So you can see that this one is ready to basically have all the bits put in it. I put one of those little metal combs on here to help anchor it to my head. And these flowers I'm using in the background in place of using more of the velvet ribbon. And they blend really nicely with the ball cap brim. So I'm very happy with that. And those just came from the same bouquet as the burgundy sparkle flowers did. And now for the marigolds. This is one of the main pieces that I wanted in this flower crown. And when I started modeling them just as sort of like a mock up on the brim, they were too full, which is not usually a problem for fake flowers, but it is what it is. So I basically had to devise a system where I could pull off some of the volume from the marigolds, and then I thought, if I can remove these, I might as well use them somewhere else. So this little black piece, this little like stick thing here is the plastic housing that those black leaves was on, and I just pulled those off so I had a bunch of leaf sticks to go. So I cut off most of the spokes. You can see there's like a little teeny piece there that points down so that they're like not so that I can put the petals on there so they don't fall off. And then I pulled off a few sheets of petals and just sort of like offset them so that they weren't all in a row, so that they had a nice full view, and then I put them onto the stick. And now I have two marigolds for the price of one. Now that I've got the marigolds split into two and I can start assembling things, it's funny because I wanted these to be really large flowers, but then when I got to it, I was like, oh, I wish I had more flowers I could put on this crown. That's fine. I totally love this vibe here. I always go for the showstopper flower in the front and center, and then flowers are put on the side there. For circlet crowns, it works. You can basically do the same thing for circlet crowns, but you may also want to have a less flashy flower in the front so that you have like a beautiful sort of cascading look to them. But in this case, I wanted it to be big and I wanted to be dramatic with these absolutely fantastic burgundy with black sparkle roses. So it was all about trying to get them fixed in a place that made sense where they weren't squishing one or the other flower too much. And it was mostly even so that when I put it on, it didn't look lopsided. Okay, now that we have our base flowers in on the structure, it's time to add some pizzazz. I got these cool, like, sort of gold flaked leaves from Michael's as well as part of the initial haul. And I'm just putting those in some areas to kind of fill in the space and add a little bit of additional visual interest. It was at this point, now that I have all these filled in, that I realized that the gold flake detail that's sort of on these is not on the front. So they just sort of look gray and dull on here, and they look fine enough, but we'll see if I do anything with those. Now, I decided that the front is so fancy, the back needs something too. So I got out my beads and sequins and all kinds of goodies to add some sort of visual interest to the back. And again, with the whole design, I didn't have a plan with this. This was just absolute vibes sort of calling to me. Here I'm stringing some garnet beads, little garnet rounds onto beading wire, and I have some sort of like gold AB seed beads, but like a larger size, and then some black shiny bugle beads that I'm just adding in a repeating pattern here. Now I left the back of the back border of the flower crown open and unglued down, and I'm so glad that I did, because this is how I'm affixing affixing my chain and my beads to the back by basically putting a jump ring on this. You can see this one is fighting me. And once I have the jump ring on, I'm going to just get some hot glue and hot glue it down into the back, and then I'm going to press the ribbon over it. Now that I've got my chain on here and I've got my bead thing, I can figure out if there's anything else that I want to do. I knew that I wanted to have like some sort of a charm on the back of this, and the rows of chain were sort of at like weird distances because why measure twice before I cut once? Why not just cut? So I added those in off camera, and in the because it was too difficult to do it with the camera on in front of me. I knew I also wanted some ribbon here. So I picked out some ribbon. The burgundy ribbon is actually from our Etsy shop, and I super love the color. It matches the roses perfectly. I have this cool neon orange, really thin ribbon that I've been hanging on to for a while, and I just never really knew what I would do with it. And then I have some of the velvet ribbon also. So I'm going to attach that to the very bottom of this. I could use it to like tie the headband down if I really want to, but my thought for this is actually more along the lines of having it be just sort of like down and mixed in with my hair. I also would look really cool if I braided my hair and added some of these ribbons or all of these ribbons to the braids, either one big braid in the back or two braids on, one braid on each side. So these ribbons were absolutely something that I knew that I wanted at the very beginning. And it just sort of ended up perfect that when I added the ribbon onto the headband itself, it gave me this perfect little place to affix these on. So it looks almost seamless. So by now I had decided that I absolutely did not want these leaves to not be dull, because one of the things that I fell in love with them is that they do have gold detailing on them. It's just on the back, which you can't see on this crown for the most part. So I got out my trusty acrylic paint and started painting some little gold bits onto these. There are some ribs on the flower or on the leaves that I kind of tried to follow, but some of them, well, let's just say some of them just got paint in a variety of places. Uh, because I didn't clean up anything that went a little awry because I figured it didn't really matter. So there's a little bit of beauty in the chaos happening with these paintings.
Okay, friends, it's here. It's actually right here. It's here. I love how this flower crown turned out. And it is exactly what I wanted it to be. The flowers are perfect. The coloration is perfect, as you saw in the making of it, like the way that these ribbons go on here. Everything about it is perfect, and it fits this like beautiful Renaissance dress very well. This is absolutely the first small stop on the road to that like dream fall Aphrodite wardrobe, and I'm loving it. The only downside to this is that this is not easily an everyday flower crown. So I wear flower crowns pretty much all the time. I cannot wear them to work because it's not part of my work dress code. Office ladies, where you at? You know my pain. So this is not an easy flower crown to wear if I'm like going around to go to stores and do grocery shopping and just sort of like everyday day-to-day things, because this is a little too tall for me to wear in the car, and that's kind of the piece there where it's not like an everyday thing. So that doesn't mean that I can't wear it, because it's also easy to put on. But this puts me in a place where I've been thinking about doing this next thing for a while, like even longer than the slip video, which is coming. It's happening. But it one of the things that I started doing as somebody who is a follower or a worshiper, a priestess, if you will, of Aphrodite, is doing small things that remind me of the beauty and remind me of my beauty, and also help connect me to Aphrodite, something a little special. You know, like I try to wear pearls. I wear this bracelet, which is a devotional thing. So flower crowns, wearing flowers in my hair like that, is also a piece of this. And I have been thinking for a while that it would be nice to be able to incorporate this piece of things, the flower crown piece of things, into everyday wardrobe in situations where I am not able to wear the full regale of flower crown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the elements from this flower crown. This will be sort of like the first one that I do it with, just like a little bit of it, and turn it into just like a hair clip that I can wear that is perfectly work appropriate. So I'm basically going to take this small section here and turn this into a clip. Like, obviously I'm not pulling it off of this. I'm not disassembling this. And I'm going to start doing that with a variety of different flower crowns, because I think that that's really a nice way for me to be able to have that extra flair and to have that extra magic in my day-to-day. So I hope you've enjoyed the process of this flower crown and seeing where this ideal wardrobe thing is going, and my process for making a flower crown.